Hello and welcome to this episode of EduCurious. Today's special guest is Mr. Dialleo Burks, head football coach of Warner University.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm glad to be on.
I want to hear a little bit about your football coaching career. There's probably a lot of things that many other people don't know about. I know you've actually quite well renowned around here. So give me the story of your history on coaching.
I played professionally for 13 years. I went to Eastern Kentucky University. That's where it kind of started. After playing pro ball, I knew it was something else that I had to get into, almost like a second next career. I love being around the game of football and what it had done for me and my life and my family. I wanted to coach. I had a lot of people in my life on teams who really made a difference in me, and that's what I wanted to do as well, was make a difference in other people's lives. Because my path to playing pro ball was one that was kind of a long shot. I wanted to instill and give, you know, what I've had and what God placed in me to others so that they could achieve their dreams as well. I started in 2004, Hopewell High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's when I ended with the Panthers. I was released by them and I started coaching. I went over and volunteered a little bit and stayed there for 2 seasons and before transitioning to the Arena Football League where because it was a spring league, I was able to coach in the fall. I went to Berkmore High School in Gwinnett County in Georgia and stayed there for 2 seasons. From there, I went to LaGrange College where I had to finish my degree and finish my bachelor's and got my master's as well. I was a quote unquote grad assistant there at LaGrange College under Todd Mooney, which is my hometown. There was 3 years. And then I went to in the high school ball when I was at Troop High School. I was at Lafayette High School. It was my first head coaching job in Alabama, and then transitioned back to LaGrange High School, which was my alma mater, where I went to school. I ended up staying there 4 seasons. After that, I went to intern with the Tennessee Titans in the NFL for a season because I just wanted to really see where I wanted to be at that time. It was a transition for me, and so I spent a season with them, and also 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears before landing the opportunity here at Warner University.
Warner is so fortunate to have you. That's a lot of accomplishments. And I want to hear a little bit about what you really enjoy about this. It's not really a small university anymore. It's grown, but what do you enjoy specifically about coaching at Warner University?
What the thing I love best about being here is the atmosphere. It's a faith-based school. We get to serve Jesus in a way that you won't normally be able to do on college campuses while being able to play the game and coach the game of football. It's a family atmosphere as well. People here are real close, very helpful, just really what I need at this point in my life. We love to serve, me and my family, and not just Warner serving us, but us serving Warner as well. The potential for growth here is unlimited. That's one of the main things I saw. The football program is only 12 years old. The potential for growth to turn into something big it's a big thing. That's something that I want to be a part of.
What kind of growth do you envision in the next couple years with your program?
I look at it being one of the premier programs, not just in the conference, the state, but nationally. We're doing a lot of great things off the field here with our guys as far as serving in the community academically, but we got to put it together on the field as well. That's what I really look forward to, is that growth part of it nationally and being there every year. When I say being there is we want to play in December, playoffs, championships. That's what I see right now with our program moving forward.
Talk about the connection with athletics and education, creating a well-rounded student. In your case, it's the college age, but what are your thoughts and coaching philosophy on how you make that person grow alongside your program?
Well, the first thing I look at is the want to and the mindset to be great. Any player that I get, we have a nice conversation about the meeting of the minds as to me giving them a scholarship and what that scholarship actually means from my point of view. Not just me giving them a scholarship to play football, but I want a lot more in return. For me, I didn't get my degree until I was 38 years old. It took me, 14 so years to graduate because I took a path to go play professionally. Once I finished, I understood what position I was placed in as far as job wise. A lot of people wanted to offer me jobs once I was done playing, but I didn't have the credentials, which is the degree. I had to go back and get the degree in order to be confirmed. With me being able to make it to the NFL, which is the premier of the premier jobs, I was unable to get a job because of I didn't have the degree. I place that value high on my guys. That academics is first because without it, you won't get a lot of places where you want to go. That mindset of being elite, not just coming in and just doing the bare minimum. We're trying to excel. I push these guys to excel, not to fail. Which means when you take a mindset of not failing, now you're in that middle tier. C's are okay because it's passing. Well, for me, C's are not okay. We want to excel, which means now C's are on the bottom. Is everyone that premier student? I would say if they want to be, because I challenged myself coming out of high school when I went to Eastern Kentucky, because I was in high school a ABC student. I was kind of on the average end. I never pushed myself to see if I could be that model student. I made that commitment my first year, and I ended up achieving a 4.0. That showed me that guys can do it if they're pushed to do it. We want to set that atmosphere here for these guys, not just on the field to be a champion, but off the field as well.
What are some areas that you encourage your young athletes to get involved in off the field? Like you mentioned, community service type stuff or organizations within the university?
Everywhere. We're everywhere. We're in the community. We're anything going on campus. Pretty much the first one they call is not that I just have the hands, the numbers, but they know we're probably not going to say no. And it's a reason why I do that because guys got to understand how to sell themselves. Not just come to school, sit in a dorm room, just walk around, but be involved. Be involved because you'll create relationships that could place you on that level where you want to be at. You never know. For me, relationships are huge. That's one thing I learned about playing in the NFL is very relationship driven. Just having these guys, first of all, understand who they are, what they can do, not football wise. Everybody can play football, but can everybody be a professional? We want to birth professionals. We go and we serve in the community. It's not just us getting something from it, but it's really serving so that they can understand what it feels like when someone pays to come and see them play a game. We give back to those and others who are not in the position sometimes to really make it. So that upliftment, that power that we can give as athletes, as coaches, we want to use that platform. But it really fulfills them. They may gripe that they have to do it, but once they get there and they get into the role and they're moving, and it's unbelievable the smiles that's on their faces. When they leave Warner University, I want them to understand that they're going into the job force ready to compete. And when I say ready to compete at the highest level, not the entry level, because I tell them, I say, if you go into the entry level, once you leave me, I said, I think I failed you as a coach. Your mindset should be when I leave here that we're going in and we are ready to go to work and we really gonna make a difference. We're not learning because the preparation starts day one. I ask them to find what they want to do outside of football. And each summer, I ask them to go and shadow at that job so they can see the day to day, what goes on the job. When do they take lunch breaks? How long do they take breaks? If they take a break. And now it really sets a precedence inside of them and says, okay, this is what I really want to do. I really love this. Or I I thought I wanted to do that, but absolutely not. So it really allows them to be in a place where now they can see exactly what they want.
So when you're out on a national scale doing recruitment for your athletic team for football. What's some things that you tell these young men why they should come to Warner? What are some highlights that you like to express to them during recruitment?
Well, for one, I'm not gonna lie to them. I think we all know that it's a game within a game, and people play it very well. I'm not good at playing those games. I only know to tell them the truth because I was that kid that didn't play. I was that kid who sat on the bench, who worked his way up. I understood what it felt to be lied to. I understood what it felt to be, misled. That's the first thing. We're not gonna lie to you. Second of all, is we're gonna raise you to be a man, which means we're going to challenge you in ways to help you create that mindset of eliteness, not just competing on the field, but in the classroom. We want that mindset. In the community, we want that mindset. We want to build a machine. That's what it is. We want to really build the ultimate machine. But being under my leadership will hopefully propel them to that professional level and what it is they want to do because everybody's not going to play pro ball. But when we say being a pro, that means maximizing your full potential each and every day to the fullest. Coming to Warner, they'll be able to get those tools. We're going to place them in other areas where they're talking to CEOs, millionaires, billionaires, because we have those type of connections. So it's just to build them as young men and football players. And Warner is special. We get to serve Jesus and not be ashamed of it. You can't do that everywhere. That's why I really sell, being here at Warner and being under us will help them really paint a different picture for their college life.
So, in your opinion, what does career entry look like after playing ball? I have a friend getting his doctorate on that very topic of going from pro to career. What does that path look like, and how do you help these players once they're done with their 4 years, if they don't go pro, get into the career?
Well, the biggest thing is experience. You're coming out of college, of course, from their side, the business side, you should have the knowledge to be able to perform, but do you have the experience to perform? That's why I really place emphasis on them going and shadowing on these jobs because they're gaining experience. Going out in the community and just say, hey, I'm gonna give up a day or so, not play the game, and I'm gonna go serve on this job. The more you can be around them, now you get to understand the mindset that the managers have, the owners have, and it should make an easier transition for you coming out. You have the experience. You understand what the scene is like, what the air is like, and information is the big thing. So we really push information. Um, and information leads to decisions, good decisions. So the more information we have, the better decisions we can make because we're more informed. So we really push these guys to go beyond these walls while they're here and spend as much time in those related fields that they want to serve in. So afterwards, they're going in being that ultimate pro at whatever it is they want to do because they understand through football work ethic. They understand how to work together as a team. They understand adversity. With anything, those are probably the biggest components of any job because you're definitely going to face some adversity. It's just the knowledge behind what it is you want to do.
So, what are some of the popular career choices that you've seen your boys do after they graduate with this 4 years?
One actually just graduated from the police academy. I've had two go on to be lawyers. They're actually in law school. Couple that went on to be coaches. Well, that's teachers as well. And two are nurses. They're going to nursing school. So wide variety of different choices.
I'm curious about the teacher recruitment. I believe we need more great quality young men in our schools. And I'm just trying to figure out, how do we attract and retain athletes, leaders like the guys that you're producing? Like, how do we connect our universities with our school systems? Any ideas, any tips on that?
Money.
Yes.
Money. And that's really it. Because I come from Georgia. Georgia is my home state, and the salaries that they are paying for teachers and coaches is very intriguing. Very intriguing. It's not so much the teaching side. The teaching side for the guys I see is easy, but a lot of them they want to coach as well. That's where the saltiness comes in, because the time that's being spent, the energy that's being placed, all that they're going through, they understand what they're signing up for, but they want to be compensated for it as well. When they see other counterparts um, getting triple pay than what they're getting, and they're doing the exact same job, it kind of leaves a bad taste in their mouths, and they would really go do something else besides really doing what it is that they're called to do. So I push them and tell them, I say, hey, sometimes you got to sacrifice, and you have to start somewhere. Get in, you never know, because once you start doing it for the money, that brings other motives. I said, just follow your heart, and your heart will lead you in the right place as well. Right now, the attraction is the salary component, from what I hear, especially when they want to coach as well, from that part of it.
So I want to go back. You mentioned as you were progressing in your athletic career that you had to overcome some adversity. Can you back up, rewind time, and sort of talk about your journey and how you had to overcome some challenges within your life?
I only played 2 years of high school ball. When I say played, that means on the field. I was always on the team, but I wasn't good enough to be on the field. I just had to wait my turn. Once I waited, my senior year was the biggest year that I had, and I ended up getting an opportunity because a guy got hurt, and I was able to go in. Well, that guy name is Walter Harris, and he was a first round draft pick for the Chicago Bears. I played behind him, and I was able to go and take advantage of my opportunity. Well, we ended up winning the state championship. We was number one ranked team in the nation in 1991 by USA Today. We brought a lot of attention to our school, and out of that, I only had 4 scholarship offers. 4 scholarship offers, and out of the 4, 3 of them wanted me to play a position that I didn't want to play. It was only one that allowed me to play the position where I wanted to play, which was wide receiver, and that was Eastern Kentucky. As a wide receiver going to Eastern Kentucky, it was a running school. So here goes another hurdle. I didn't get a lot of passes thrown to me while I was there. Now I got dreams of going to the NFL and not having a lot of stats behind me. So that was a hurdle that I had to fight as well. Once I finished my career there, we had a tight end by the name of Jason Dunn, who was a projected first round draft pick. He brought all of the scouts to the NFL scouts to campus for his pro day. Well, of course, he got the invite. I didn't get an invite. We were in our room, just playing cards. Well, he comes by the room and asks us to pray for him. And we was like, okay, why are we praying for you? He's like, well, I'm getting ready to go work out for the NFL scouts. I'm like, they're here? And he was like, yeah. When he walked out of that door, we prayed. I got my shoes and I walked right behind him. I placed myself in the workout as well. Had a pretty decent uh, workout, but it was this one particular drill that I did, and in front of them, and I had to do it like 4 or 5 times. And in the midst of doing the drill, they were, kind of talking to me in a negative way, as some coaches do, to make me think that I was not worthy of being on their level. After the drill, I kind of walk off and I'm defeated a little bit because I look at opportunity going out the window. Well, this guy comes over named Coach McDaniel from the Philadelphia Eagles, and he said, I want you to hold your head up, son. I said, Coach, I said, I don't understand why the way you guys were just talking to me. And he was like, well, I want to let you in on a little something. He said, the reason we had you do that drill that many times is because we couldn't believe the time that you ran. He said, to date, that was the fastest time in all the United States in that drill. We wanted to make sure that it was legit. He said, you did a good job. And he walks off. Well, the workout is over and the draft comes and I don't get drafted. That was my dream of, hey, going to that level. So I'm getting ready to get married as well. So now my plans have to switch from football to now real life. The day before, I'm in the tuxedo shop and my wife calls me. She said, you just got a call from a guy named John Wooten. And I didn't believe her at all. I was frustrated because the guys were cutting up in there with the tuxedos and all of this. And she said, no, I'm serious. She said, he's with the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's almost like I dropped the phone. And she said, they want you to come up for a workout. And I was like, wow. We ended up getting married. After our honeymoon, I went up and worked out. And in the midst of the workout, it's a guy named John Gruden who's there, and he was the offensive coordinator. He was the former head coach of the Tampa Bay Bucks and Oakland Raiders. He was the offensive coordinator there at that time, and he's looking at me working out, and he's just in like awe of my abilities. And he just kind of nodded his head and he walked off when it was done. Well, afterwards they came and said, we want to sign you. And I was like, wow. I signed, I got a chance to go to camp, and I'm sitting in a room with 16 other receivers in there, and never saw the playbook, never been coached before. And at the end of training camp, I was one of 6 guys that walked out of the room with a job. You talk about adversity, you talk about no excuses, you talk about hard work. That's what I'm built on. It's tough for me to have excuses. It's tough for me not to, be able to go and get it, because all my life that's what I've had to do. It's like it's ingrained in me. And when you give me something to do, it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done, because I'm not gonna sleep until it's done, and it's gonna be done at the top level.
Who were some people that truly influenced your world to have a dream that you clung on to so tightly to be in the NFL? That takes a lot of grit and determination, but sometimes it also takes the people breathing that hope and that promise and encouragement in your ear.
My mom, definitely, for one. She was one. When you talk about hard work, uh, she always worked 2 jobs. I learned how to cook and wash clothes when I was in the 5th grade. That was just what we did. Clean, like I'm a advocate cleaner. If it's not shining, it's not clean. She was one that I saw really understood what the grind was, and that's what she perfected. And still to this day, she's working 2 jobs, and she don't have to. She's a restaurant owner, and she also works for UPS. That's just what she does. I'm watching her as a single parent do this, and I'm like, there's no way possible that I cannot be like that. And she's doing it. Kind of took on to that part of it from the work perspective. From a confidence perspective, it was definitely my high school coach, Coach John Revere, who told me in the 9th grade that I couldn't play football because I was too small. So he didn't want to put me, he literally turned me down, told me no. And I just stayed persistent at it. It's something I wanted to do. At that time, my mom worked at the school. She was in the library. And he went to her and he said, I don't understand why your son keep coming, that he's too small. He's going to get hurt. He's going to get me fired. And she's like, no, just give him a shot. He broke down and gave me a shot. And I told him I wasn't going to disappoint him. From there, he really challenged me as a man, but he was the one who taught me that God and sports is okay. Um, he allowed me to be in the FCA, where he introduced me to FCA, reading the Bible, understand what the relationship that God brings to us. And he had a wife and a family, something that I wanted. So he was the model. He was a model for me to look at. Over the years, he's still there. He's still doing it. So those 2 was definitely 2 instrumental people that really helped me along in this journey.
I've met some of your family, they're beautiful. And how do you balance career and family and faith? What kind of tips or advice do you have on that?
Well, one, understanding that God leads everything. He's the orchestrator of it all. He will not put more on you than you can bear, even though it gets tough a lot of times and we want to quit sometimes, but he's building us for something great. And he won't put, more on us that we could bear. I just kind of stay in that frame of mind. But having a great wife who keeps me grounded, lets me know when, hey, you kind of getting out of alignment at times, but she holds me accountable to the T. She holds me accountable. And so I'm able to really look and see the importance of it. And as much as I want the program to be successful and be this national powerhouse, I want my family to be this national powerhouse as well. She's a big staple in that, as well as my church family. Pastor Daniel Williams, that's here. Pastor Lamar Hartwick that we had in Georgia. I mean, we've been around some phenomenal pastors who have really fed into our lives and spoke into our lives. And not just spoke, but are part of our family. Like we really feel that they're part of our families. Like balancing that is I have to understand that I'm responsible for 130, 35 lives here on campus, but I'm even more responsible for the other 5 that I have at home. Once I'm here, I'm here. I'm coach. They're able to see dad here because my son Cam, the youngest son, is over here every day. So they get a chance to really see me, put a dad hat on as well. But then once I leave here, I have to leave. Now I go home to them, just creating that balance, putting systems in place that really helps me so that I don't fall and I'm not overloaded, because football can go 24 hours a day. It can go 24 hours a day, every day. It's always something to do. I had to learn how to put it down with those conversations with my wife, with her telling me what she needs, what my kids need, and all. Some alarms are set off sometimes. As a leader, I have to really go back and backtrack and say, okay, what's the main thing? And the main thing is that centerpiece, and then that's God. So he helps me because he knows how I get out there and how I keep going with this football thing and kind of leave them behind. But it's more or less making sure I put them first and then bringing everything else behind that.
So, besides playing in the NFL and having a wonderful family and a great career, what are some of the accomplishments that you find to be right up there that maybe aren't a plaque on the wall, but some like a personal accomplishment that you're really proud of?
And my first response would be is I haven't gotten there. I haven't gotten there yet. It's like every day I wake up and that work mindset, it kicks in. And I say that because I was at a banquet maybe about a year or two ago, and they were reading off my bio, and I'm watching the audience as they're reading the bio, and they're like, wow, wow. But to me, it was like, man, you got a lot of work to do. You haven't done enough. That's one thing that I just have to continue to just look and see. Hey, you've done a lot. You've done a lot. But I say one of the biggest things is it came this past summer when we had 23 football players get baptized, and it was on a normal day. I had my one of my college teammates, Sheldon Walker, who lives here in Florida. He came and spoke to the team. It was like a kickoff to training camp. He's speaking, and he's just speaking about his life. And some of the stuff I knew because I was there, Eastern Kentucky, with him for 4 years. Some stuff I didn't know. Afterwards, something led me to just open up the floor for invitation. And when I saw these guys start walking up, and I'm looking at him, it's like, I said, all I did was just ask who wanted to accept. And they just kept coming up, and I was like, wow. I was blown away. That's what it's all about right there. Because in the end, that's the biggest win that they're ever getting in their lives right there. For me, that's probably one of the biggest wins. I don't care how many rings I get, that's the biggest win, knowing that these guys' soul was saved. They can live eternally with the one who orchestrated everything. So that's the win right there. So for me, that's the biggest one that I would say as a whole.
What would you like to see for our schools to help get these kids prepared for going to a university? What kind of message would you like to tell parents or tell future students to help just get them geared up for that next chapter of life?
I would say continue to challenge them. It's a lot of talk about the old school versus new school way and all that. And I've been in both. And I think you can still do both. The standards have to be set from the top, from the principals at the school, from the superintendents in the system. The standards has to be set, okay, and clear to all teachers, because I am a certified middle school science teacher as well. So I've taught curriculum, I've taught PE, but it has to be clear from a system standpoint and from a building standpoint as this is how we want to do it. It's a lot of, I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done because I'm from this era. No, you got too many different perspectives going, and that's pulling the kids in different ways. That's one thing. The other thing is the kids will rise up. The kids will rise up. We thinking that we want to soften the blow for them. Well, once they get to college, the blow is not going to be softened. We got to prepare them to be able to skin up their knees, skin up their elbows like we had. We're okay. Hey, put a Band-Aid on it and we can keep going. But we have to really prepare them and challenge them in different ways, because once they get to college, it's more or less now, hey, you're on your own. Your personal agendas now are at stake. So what's your foundation now comes into play because you're alone. A lot of people that I've seen since I've been actually just here at Warner, the ones that we recruit, we make sure that their foundation is solid, because I tell them I can't chase you. I don't have the energy to chase 135 guys, 24 hours a day. I just can't do it. They have to have a foundation. It doesn't matter if it's a two-parent household or a single-parent household. The foundation has to be placed in them, and then celebrate them. Make sure that the kids are celebrated. A lot of them come in defeated because they haven't been told that they are worthy, that they can do it, and it's more than just words. It's more than just words. The celebrations, like I see you guys do quite a bit of things. And I told you, I said, I thank you for having a hand in mine. I personally told you, I thank you for having a hand in mine, because we've had some challenges. We're not exempt, but that growth would not have happened if follow-ups haven't happened. Encouragement wouldn't have happened. And so I'll say just continue to, like I say, celebrate the small victories. Now, it's not necessarily the big stuff. Just celebrate the small stuff. Celebrate the small victories. And I think we will then see, systems really take off with these young adults and kids.
Being in the K through 12 world, we're always test, 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 grades. That's what matters. But in my opinion, I feel like there's so much more to a student or a child that can make them successful in life. What's your take on a whole child approach?
Oh, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Now, I will say this, and it may be different. If a 39 is what they earn, give them the 39. Don't give them the 60. That's a setup for failure, because here they're going to get exactly what they earn. That's once they get to the college level, there's no curving. They're going to get exactly what they earn, and kind of paints a false picture to them. Some of the entitlement that we feel some kids have, guess what? We created it. We're feeding into it heavily, and that's part of the kind of the old school way, and it really allows them to say, "Hey, this is what I earn. Like, I'm not a 39. Yes, you are 39, because that's the effort that you put in. So now let's go back and go to the drawing boards and see how we cannot get this 39 again." I would say paint the realness to them, because that's what the world's going to do. I think we overly protect them, and then once they get here, first of all, we're wasting a lot of money. We waste a lot of money with these kids that come to college, and now they come in with 4.0s, 0.8s, and now when the college pace hits them, now they're at a 1.65 after being a 4.0 student. Why? Because the padness. They were padded versus the realness of it. So that's one thing I say. Hey, what's real? Give it to them. We gotta operate in a real system. That's one of the main things that I've seen when I was in the school, because it really promotes the work ethic part of it. That, hey, we want to work. Now it's time to go to work.
Any closing thoughts before I end us?
I really thank you again. I just was scrolling through. I don't know how I saw it, but I saw it, the podcast, and saw it. I was like, okay, that seems like something neat to be a part of right there. But it's a platform for views to be expressed, having real conversation and dialogue. Like, I really, really love this, because I think without this, a lot of people probably won't see certain sides. To me, he's a football coach. Now I'm more than a football coach. Another thing, when I say more than a football coach, I'm a licensed barber, paint, carpenter work, landscape, detail. I do a whole lot of things. That's one thing too, that if we could have programs to where they can now express themselves in other areas versus streamline, I think they'll be a lot better as well. Kids will be a lot better as well. We got to be multi-talented. It's not just about football. It's about the whole person. And that's one thing that I'm intentional about asking is, what are they good at outside of football? What are they really good at? What's their passion outside of football? Because the cleats are going to wear out. At that point, what is it that you want to do?
Yes, you are much more than just a football coach, but a very good coach at that. And anytime around you, I'm like, wow, this guy's got it together. What a leader, what a strong person, what a great dad and husband. So thank you for spending time on the show today. I really appreciate your perspective. I learned some new things about you. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whether you're a teacher, a parent, or just EduCurious, join the community as we explore various educational topics and learn from each other. We'll see you next time.